If you want to know the absolute best DLC Pictos in Expedition 33, you are in the right place. With more than 360 hours of experience, I have extensively tested all of the new Pictos and their new builds, so I can give you my top 10 must-have DLC Pictos that you can't afford to miss, along with useful combinations and usage tips. Starting with honorable mentions, and the SOS Healing Tint may look like a waste of slot at first, but let me tell you, it is one of the good Pictos in this DLC. SOS Healing Tint will allow you to consume a healing tint when the user's HP falls under 50%. Most of you will find this useless, especially when using one-shot builds. But you can actually take advantage of this Picto if you want to face tank bosses' attacks and skip certain mechanics that require parrying or dodging. A perfect example here is the DLC Simon's latest mechanic, where he will force you to parry and dodge his attacks at the very start of the fight, and no matter what you do, he will go first. And with the right setup, the SOS Healing Tint will allow you to face Tank Simon's initial attacks without the need of parrying or dodging. And of course, you will still need to dodge his Gomaj wipe finisher, but other than that, you can face tank his attacks without a hassle. This is made possible by beefing up your party members' HP to 10k to 13k plus, paired with SOS Healing Tint, plus the Solidifying Picto and the Shielding Tint Picto. The way this works is, you need to make sure that the user can withstand high damaging attacks, explaining the 10k to 13k HP mark of the users. So when their HP goes below 50%, the SOS Healing Tint will take effect, healing their HP back to full. While Solidifying Picto will add 2 shields when the user's HP goes below 50% once per battle. And another 2 shield stacks will be generated from the Shielding Tint Picto alone. So that's 4 additional shields. And as long as you have healing tints in your inventory, you can tank succeeding attacks with 2 shield stacks and the heals from SOS Healing Tint Lumina or Picto. And just in case you haven't got the chance to get all of the new Pictos, I provided all of the drop locations for your convenience, link in the description. The longer break Picto allows the user to extend the stun duration of enemies by 1 turn. Extending stun duration by 1 turn may sound boring at first, but this is pretty useful when trying to skip special mechanics like the old Simon's Phase 2 Gomaj. For this instance, I want to skip Simon's mandatory Gomaj when his HP falls around 30%. So what I will do is, I will stun him around 30% HP mark, and the longer break Picto or Lumina will also take effect. Because of this, Simon will have 2 whole turns that he will skip because he is stunned, giving you an ample amount of turns to finish the fight without triggering phase 2 or letting him Gomaj your party. The main caveat of the longer break Picto is that enemies can't be broken twice, so you need to time your stuns carefully if you are trying to skip a certain mechanic. And if you are getting value so far, subscribe to the channel. Liking the video and engaging in the comments helps me more than you can imagine, or consider supporting us on Patreon or becoming a channel member today, and I appreciate your support. Starting the top 10 list strong with the First Life Picto. First Life is yet another new damaging Picto that gives the user 25% increased damage until death. But the caveat of this Picto is that it decreases the user's damage by 20% on death. However, you will likely use First Life if you are using one-shot builds anyways, since the main damage dealer in the said builds never dies. So this Picto is a must-have for this kind of setup. And I am not saying that you cannot use this in regular damage builds, but make sure you can parry or dodge effectively, since that 20% damage decrease stings a lot if the character dies. And of course, we are talking about the latest DLC Pictos here, and if you are new to the game and want to know the best absolute Pictos of the base game, I've covered the top 25 Pictos and their builds, link in the description or find it by clicking the card here. Another good Picto entering our list is Clair's Death Picto, which adds 25% more damage when the user dies and applies the damage to his or her allies. But what the game does not tell you is that this Picto or Lumina do stack with each other. So for example, if both of your supporting characters died, the main damage dealer would receive a full 50% damage multiplier. In this instance, Monaco and Verso are my main supporting characters, while CL is the main damage dealer. When Monaco and Verso die in this configuration, they will give 50% more damage to CL. Clair's death effect clearly stacks in this instance, where I test the damage where Monaco is the only member equipped with Clair's death, and on the right is where Monaco and Verso have the Lumina equipped, and you can totally see the damage difference. But how can you kill yourself in combat? I hear you asking, my dear viewer. And for starters, you can follow the setup here where inverted affinity plus auto death, Survivor and Second Chance can lessen the user's HP to 1. And since we are equipped with Inverted Affinity, you can cast Healing Tint on the user that you want to die. Then that user will revive because of Second Chance while also activating Clair's death effect in the process. Another easy way is to just use Auto Death plus Second Chance and Clair's death to proc the 25% damage bonus in the process while dying at the start of the turn. But this combo is buggy as hell at the moment, which makes the Cerezo's effect not apply to damage dealers. And just a quick context here. Cerezo adds 100% damage multiplier on Verso's allies when his perfection rank reaches S rank. So I prefer killing my own members manually with the healing tints and still managing to make Cerezo's additional damage work on the main damage dealer, avoiding the bug that I just mentioned earlier. AP discounts lessen the requirement of AP when using skills by 1. But hey Samurai, 1 AP sounds boring. It doesn't sound like a big deal to me, I hear you saying, my dear viewer. The AP discount can offer a lot of value than you think, especially when you are playing free aim AP generation setups. The free aim AP generation setup is tied to a lot of endgame setup and strategies, even before the DLC came out, where you spam free aim shots and normal attacks to charge the gradient gauge, for example, or generating personal buffs such as Rush, Powerful, and Shell when spamming free aim shots. And these buffs most of the time require multiple AP to take effect. Energizing shots, powerful shots, accelerating shots, and more rely on RNG for their effects to proc while doing free aim shots. So when you do have a bad RNG, it may take more AP than usual to generate the said buffs when spamming free aim shots. The AP discount's importance can now be seen here, since if you need to spam free aim shots to generate buffs while also needing to cast a certain skill in the same turn, the discounted 1 AP from the AP discount Lumina or Picto can make or break your setup. And believe me when I say that 1 AP alone can make or break crazy strategies, especially if you are working with complex skills and free aim shots combo that needs to be done in a single turn. Since we are talking about free aim shots builds heavily, the trigger happy Picto is one of the key factors that can improve your free aim shot builds. What this Picto does is it gives you 2 AP bonuses after performing 10 hits of successful free aim shots. As I mentioned earlier, 1 AP can make or break a complex strategy or big brain strats, so the added 2 AP generation that the trigger happy provides can go a long way. Although I don't use Trigger Happy as a damage Picto, it can also improve free aim builds that revolves around damage, like Verso's free aim shot damage builds for example. The 200% damage bonus that this Picto provides is no doubt noticeable when doing free aim shots, before you even pull off Verso's follow-up skill. The Frenzy Picto works hand in hand with the Feint Picto, which I will dive into later on. Frenzy will give the user 10% more damage on each subsequent hit of a skill, like for example, Verso's Steel Strike has a whopping 13 hits, so that's an easy 120% damage bonus from the Frenzy Picto alone. While Luna's Lightning Dance has 6 hits, so that's 50% additional damage. So you are seeing a trend here that the most damaging skills in the latest DLC are the multi-hitting skills. So it is natural that if you have Frenzy, it is likely that you have Feint as well, since the 600 damage bonus from the Feint Picto is too good to pass on. While the double third Picto is an absolute beast of a Picto, giving the user 100% more damage on every third hit of a skill, meaning you will have 100% damage multipliers on the 3rd, 6, 9, and 12 hit of a skill. So the primary skills that will benefit from this are Luna's Lightning Dance and Verso's Steel Strike. So this Picto will never be absent in Luna's and Verso's one-shot builds. Not just Luna and Verso, but Maya's Gustav's Homage skill that has 8 hits as well to take advantage of double thirds damage bonus. On top of that, this skill will allow you to not consume mark stains when performing the skill, so that's another source of damage on top of the double thirds damage. So yes, pair the double third Picto with Frenzy and Feint, all of the relevant damage multipliers in the world, and your multi-hitting skills can one-shot even the strongest bosses in the game without a hassle. And of course, one of the best Pictos added in the latest DLC is the Gradient Overcharge Picto, which adds a whopping another 200% more damage after consuming a level 3 Gradient Charge. Regardless of whether you are using multi-hitting or single-hitting skills, you will find value from this Picto. When the user is equipped with this Domina or Picto, he or she will consume the Gradient Gauge if the level is 3. So clearly, Gradient attacks are no longer the strongest skills in the latest DLC because of this Picto, at least in regular gameplay. And as mentioned, it is easy to charge the Gradient Gauge in today's setups with free aim generation build. But the challenging part to maximize the use of this Picto is that you need the right turn order to get the best results. There are a lot of advanced and complex strategies that I have already shown on this channel, especially when one-shotting the DLC Simon. And without the Gradient Overcharge Picto, Mael is not really able to deal 5.2 billion damage or CL with 5 to 6 billion damage. But for the sake of the video, I am showing a simple one-shot strategy where you can apply the best usage of the Gradient Overcharge Picto. In this example, I am using Mael, CL, and Monaco to demonstrate a one-shot build. To make these actual steps concise, I will run through them quickly. Mael comes first and she will cast Last Chance in both of her turns for more damage multipliers and retain the virtuous stance. CL comes second and will do a free aim shots to charge the gradient gauge and will cast a normal attack to inflict defense down and slow on the boss. Then CL will do another round of free aim shots and cast Fortune's Fury on Mael during her second turn. Monaco will take his turn and will dump all of his AP on free aim shots and do a normal attack to end his first turn. And he will do the exact same steps during his second turn. At this point, you can see that the gradient gauge is already at level 3 and ready to be consumed. But CL, who will comes first, will cast a healing tint on Mael to max out her shield stacks to 9 stacks. It's time for Mael to end the fight, and notice that she will consume the gradient gauge level 3 to gain 200% damage multiplier at the start of her turn. At this point, she has 9 shield stacks active for more damage multipliers, Fortune's Fury's buff, which is double damage, and the boss has a defense down debuff, 100 burn stacks for maximum burning canvas damage, and of course the 200% damage bonus from Gradient Overcharge. Casting Burning Canvas will let you deal 654 million damage in total, which can easily one-shot all of the bosses in the game, even at NG plus 5. But remember, this is just a simple one-shot setup. Keep in mind that you can deal 5.2 billion with Mael and 5.6 billion damage on CL because of the added damage of the Gradient Overcharge Picto. And if you are interested in knowing the latest and strongest builds in the game, I've covered them in my latest video, which is linked in the description or find it by clicking the card here. We already know that Feint, Frenzy, and Double Third Pictos works together hand in hand, empowering multi-hitting skills. These Pictos are one of the reasons why multi-hitting skills are the meta in the latest patch. The Feint Picto gives the equipped character with the Barba Papa debuff or the Cotton Candy debuff as I call it, which reduces the character damage to 1 in the first 4 hits of the skill. But the biggest caveat is that the 5th hit of a certain skill will receive a whopping 600 additional damage. The Cotton Candy debuff may look like a bad thing at first, but since we have all skills like Mael's Burning Canvas, Luna's Lightning Dance, and also Verso's Steel Strike, which are all multi-hitting skills, the Barba Papa debuff is not really a bad thing to have. Mael's Burning Canvas is 5 hits in total, so the last hit will hit like an absolute freight train. The same thing to Luna's Lightning Dance with 6 hits in total, so the Cotton Candy debuff is nothing. While Verso's Steel Strike has a whopping 13 hits in total as mentioned. CL's latest godly build would not be possible without the latest damaging Pictos, and one of them is the Consuming Attack Picto, which is the key factor of powering CL's Dualism build. This Picto will allow CL or any damage dealer to consume 100 burn stacks when performing normal attacks, and each burn stack gives CL or the damage dealer 10% more damage per burn stack. CL or the damage dealer will have a whopping 1000 additional damage from this Picto alone after consuming 100 burn stacks. Keep in mind that we are dealing with 4 hits of base attacks in CL build, so if you have 400 burn stacks to consume, that is an insane 1000 additional damage from consuming attack Picto alone per attack, resulting to a whopping 4000 additional damage in total, which is insane. And because of the consuming attack Picto, I reached a whopping 5.1 billion damage from CL, and this is not even her maximum potential, since CL can easily reach 6 billion damage in normal gameplay. Again, if you want to see the build, check the description or the comment section below as I provided the link there. I firmly believe that the slowing attack Picto is hands down the best Picto in the latest patch. What this Picto does is it allows the user to inflict slow on enemies by just performing a normal attack. You may find the slowing attacks effect boring at first glance, but I have a strong reason why this Picto is one of the best. Speed is the name of the game when it comes to Expedition 33, and inflicting slow on targets will open a whole new layer of advanced gameplay involving turn manipulation. In simple terms, the slow debuff reduces the boss's speed and make it a less of a priority in turn order, while on the other hand, it gives you characters more turns to exploit. The more turns your characters can do, of course the crazier combos you can pull off. Slow is the secret sauce in all of the strongest damaging builds in the game currently, while opening more advanced strategies for the user to exploit. Without slow, I don't think I can pull off 5.2 billion damage on Mael or 5 to 6 billion on CL. What I usually do to get the best results from slow, beef up the user's raw speed stat around 3,800 to 4,000 and find a way to buff the user with rush buff with the greater rush Lumina active. Then this user is paired with exposing attack to inflict defense down in the process with slow. And of course, the slowing attack is paired to greater slow Lumina. So with that having said, imagine you can just inflict slow on any character without the use of skills or special weapon effects on the get-go by just performing normal attacks, all thanks to the slowing attack Picto. So like for example here, Verso can have another free turn after reviving because of slow, so he can set up his immortal strategy way easier. This is just one example of how broken slow is. And this strongest builds video will not only show you how broken the slow debuff is, but also teaches you how to reach 5.2 billion damage, so click on it and I will catch you on the next one.